An investor, what does income producing activity look like?
Meeting people.
Meeting people.
Making offers.
Making offers. The number one income producing activity is making offers. Unless you're making offers in real estate game, you're absolutely not getting any deals. Is that correct? Am I speaking the right language here? You place an offer, you get a deal. When you're not doing that, you get no deals. The consistent behavior and the income producing activity is you've got to place offers. So how many deals do you want in your life? All right, I'll make it easier. How many deals do you want in the next 30 days?
10.
You want 10 deals. How many deals do you want? Anybody? How many deals do you want?
5.
You want 5 deals. How many deals do you want? Let's just make it simple. Suppose you want 1 deal in the next 30 days. How many opportunities do you need to bring to your doorstep to analyze to get that 1 deal? What are the figures before you answer, Dan?
10, 40.
10. So 10 deals that you analyze will get you 1 deal that you close on that creates success.
100.
How many?
100.
Closer to 100. When you know certain techniques and strategies, you can bring that conversion rate down. Only I would say a good number to look at when you first get in, 100 properties you've got to look at to create 1 deal that actually closes. Now when you look at 100 deals, how many offers are you going to place? You could place 100. Let's just say you place 10. 100 deals you analyze, 10 are high. You do 10 offers. Maybe you get 3 that end up in negotiations and 1 that actually closes. Does that make sense? Those are some pretty poor numbers. So let me ask you something. In the last 30 days, how many properties have you analyzed? Who here has come close to analyzing 100 properties? You want to get clear with what you want. Most of you, doing 1 deal a month would be just amazing. Even 1 deal a quarter, and you'd be really happy. Well, unless you're analyzing 100 deals in a quarter, or even 100 deals, let's go the next level, 100 deals a month, there's no way. I coach in real estate investors, and they come to me, and I'm like, oh man, and they're struggling. They're scratching their head. They're saying, I don't have any good deals. I don't know where these deals are coming from that other people have. I haven't been able to put together a deal all year. I keep hearing they're out there, but I'm losing faith. I say, how many deals have you analyzed? Well, I've done at least 5 or 6 this month. 5 or 6? That means over the year, they might find 1 deal. Over the year. Instead of finding 1 deal a month, or even 1 deal a week. Do the math. Pay attention, income producing activity. Dan?
It sounds to me like knowing that figure and giving that to people that's working for you long before they start would probably reduce the amount of burnout because they'd already know.
Oh my gosh, yes. We call that managing expectations. This is just bonus material. Is this good? Manage your expectations. You manage your expectations no matter what you're doing. I learned this way back. I was in straight commission sales in the medical field for about 10 years, and that was where I got started in business. Medical field in 10 years, I knew I call on 10 doctors, cold calling. I would get maybe 1 sale, but that really wouldn't make my numbers. So I needed to call on 20 to 25 doctors every day for my numbers to make sense. Just knocking on doors, cold calling. I just knew that number. So it wasn't discouraging for me when I had to call 10, 15, 20 doctors. When I'm out there knocking on them, I just knew my number for the day was 25. I didn't stop till I got to 25 doors. Then my numbers all made sense, and they all came through, and I had the abundance I was looking for. Does that make sense? It's those people that want to complain about their results, and yet they won't do the work that's necessary. And manage your expectations with every step of the way. Absolutely down. So income producing activity, here's the rest of the story. You see the average person only does about an hour and a half of income producing activity a day. Now most of you say, oh no, I'm busy every day. I do a ton of stuff. I'm busy from morning, noon, and night, And yet these are the national stats. An hour and a half. Here's why. Here's what they're really doing. They're chatting with coworkers, checking email, reading the newspaper, social media, moving stuff from this side of the table to this side of the table, and then back again. Extended coffee breaks, rev it up or wind it down. And that's their day. Clear knows that's the truth. Yes, sir. I want you to get real with yourself and how your day exists. You want abundance? You want to become a millionaire? You want to create just amazing results for your family, for yourself? Get clear with what you do every day. Because that's the crux of so much success. Just get busy. I was looking at it, I'm always studying, I'm always training myself, always sharpening my own axe, and I was listening to some YouTube videos and different things, and the story of so many successful people is, man, I got busy. I did the work. I heard this is what I needed to do, and then I did it. And it's one of the pieces that so often you hear speakers up here and they're like, no, this is easy. Just do this, this, and this, and you're going to be just amazing. I'll tell you, there's some work involved. However, the rewards are so great. When you put in the work and effort, and you're doing what you really love, and you realize it's going to set you free, the magnitude of results that, and the magnitude of joy, happiness, just amazing things that will come into your life. Do the work. Put in the effort. Watch. 3 activities to account for your results. Connecting with your clientele, presenting to them, and closing them. In the real estate game, that means connecting with buyers, sellers. There's actually 3 funnels in the real estate game. Who here knows the 3 funnels? The 3 different people you must have to make any deal come together. Shout it out. Go ahead. I already said 2 of them. Buyer, seller, and? Funding. Yeah. Buyer, seller, and money. Those are the 3 things have to come together for every real estate deal. For each one of you and for all my clients, I talk a ton of how to develop those funnels, and they're separate funnels. You may meet them in different places. You want a funnel, you want a focused energy around about getting buyers, attracting sellers, and attracting funding for all your opportunities. You have those 3 things, you'll create an abundance in your life. That's the real estate game. So each one of these techniques you can apply to every industry, only that's what you're doing every single day. Everything else is secondary. A Maverick tip for you is spend 80% of your time on income-producing activity, 20% on everything else, or delegate the rest and create an extraordinary life around it. One of my clients, Paul Brown, he went through and he said, I absolutely would crawl over broken glass to train with Paul Finck. Pretty dramatic. I understand. Don't expect you to walk over broken glass, only here's why he said it. In the first year working with Paul, he helped me move my annual passive real estate income from $30,000 to $175,000 and actually it was less than 12 months. Who would like that kind of shift in their life? Raise your hand up high. Those are the types of things that I do, and it was all getting clear with how and the techniques and strategies on what he was doing every single day to create that magnitude, and also how he was approaching his business. Maverick secret number 4. Find new friends. We was completely offended by this Maverick secret. This is a little counterintuitive, and I know some of you are going, no, but I love my friends. You need new friends. You need absolutely new. Why do I say that?
You're an average of the 5 people you hang out with the most.
You read my slide. You're the average of the 5 friends you hang out with the most. What does that mean? We hear that. How many people have ever heard that before? Raise your hand up high. Awesome. So how many of you have applied it into your life? What does that look like? What did that look like for you? Did you really get rid of your friends?
Yeah, I totally did.
Awesome. Awesome.
I got a new group now.
What? A whole new group. Why? And people say, but I like my friends. I say yes, and they're holding you back. Is that okay? If your friend is drowning and they grab hold of you to drown with them, would that be a good thing? Would you want to hang out with your friend? People don't realize that they just sacrificed their life. That their friend's drowning, their friend won't come to shore, and they just keep pulling you down and forcing you to drown with them. And you go, no, 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 I want to live. How many people realize that most of our society isn't living? Most of our society has blinders on. Most of our society is living from paycheck to paycheck. They're living in a fog. They're really not enjoying what they do. They live for, God, I hate this expression, TGIF. The restaurant's all well and good. It's the expression that's the challenge. Because what does it really mean? Most of my life sucks, except for that one night. Or maybe 2 nights, because I got Friday and Saturday. By Sunday, I begin to think about Monday, and I hate it again. This is how most people live. This is craziness. And yet they think that's the only way. I'm here to tell you there's a better way. So you're the average. Now, is it just financial? Are we talking just financial here? Where you are, you absolutely, and here's where, do the math. The 5 people you're hanging out with, and actually find out what they make per year. Add it all up, divide by 5, that's the average of the 5 friends that you have. Your income will be about 10%, give or take, of what that average number is. Test it out. What happens if you pull out one of your friends and put in a millionaire? Would the average go up?
Yep.
Yes. It's what I did. And absolutely what I did. I started hanging out with millionaires. Started hanging out with multimillionaires. Started hanging out with billionaires. When I wasn't there yet. You see, you need to hang out with people that you want to be like, not people that you are. Simple equation. Hang out with people. And so often we go to parties, who are we hanging out with? Oh, the people that are like us. No matter what our personality is, those are the people we're going to hang out with. We are attracted to them. We're all in a little circle together. You need to stretch yourself. Go hang out with people that you want to be like. The number one person in the room, that's the person you want to sit next to. I don't care where you are or who you are. That's what you're to do. The rest of the people are irrelevant. You want to go where you want to be, not where you are. Hang out with new people. Find new friends. Imagine this. You're hanging out with somebody and they're grumpy. A lot of offices are like this. Hang out with the whole office staff. What are they doing? Hey, how you doing? All right. How was your life? Yeah, it's okay. How was your weekend, your day? Yeah, well, I had to do this or that. What about the guy that actually tells you? Oh my gosh, I'm going through a divorce. My kids are on drugs. My dog just died. I was just being nice. What if you hang out with people that are joyful, happy, excited every single day of your life? What's your life going to be like? You smile, do people smile back? Yes, it's an international language. Imagine all you do is smile and all they do is smile back. Imagine how you feel every day. Imagine that's your existence. Joy, passion. You know what my buddies and I do when we get together? We talk about the latest opportunity. We talk about how we're making another million, how we're creating something fantastic, how we're producing something for our society, our community. We're always talking about the greater than versus complaining about what was. It's a whole different perspective. When you're hanging out with people like that every day, create something that shifts you, your thinking, and what you do every day, how you show up. I started showing up in a different way. I started hanging out with multi-millionaires and billionaires. Started hanging out. I wanted to become a speaker, and I had this vision that I would be a speaker all around the world, speaking to thousands of people, and now I do, and I'm able to speak to people all across the world. I started getting educated. This is where it began. I started seats just like these. Started getting educated. Started looking at the people that were up on stage. I would be sitting here and I'd hear their story. I hear how they grew and how they developed. I hear the shifts and changes. I hear how they developed a great life. And I realized if only I could just spend a few moments with them. Just rub shoulders with them. Who here knows that just rubbing shoulders with some greatness will rub off? Could your life create in a greater way because you're hanging out with people that are just living in that space already. I realized that, and I watched these people and I said, man, if only I could be in their space. If only I could jump the fence and be like them. So I started rubbing shoulders with them, and then it happened. And for most of the people on this list, I not only became their friends, their associates, I shared the stage with them. Many of them became my clients. See, they became my clients. They started doing business with me. You see, I consulted with people for the last, 12 years. I've actually been hired as a consultant for some of the top named speakers in the country, helping them produce more, helping them create more in their boot camps and in their business. Here thinks that's a pretty good leap. Here's the rest of the story, some pictures. Some pictures and some great people. I'll show you some pictures. Here's some pictures of some great, anybody recognize some of the names of some of the pictures up here? Anybody recognize some of these people? Just name them out. Anybody?
The Virgin Airlines person.
Who's this?
The first slide you had, the Virgin Airlines guy.
Well, how about this guy? Yep.
Yes.
Virgin Airlines. Who here knows his name?
Richard Branson.
Sir Richard Branson. Don't you forget it. Sir Richard Branson. I've had the great honor of hanging out with Richard Branson. We've been down there twice now. This is his island in the Virgin Isles called Necker Island. This is actually his private island and his private home. It's his second home. He lives in UK and he doubles and lives in Necker Island the rest of the year. And so as his second home, we've been able to be down there twice hanging out. It's really amazing. Now, this isn't just a photo op. It's actually, well, where we've been able to experience. We lived here twice, lived in that little bungalow up there. You see this, this water, this little blue area right in there? This is a bungalow that we stayed in on the island. There's about 6 of them like this. That's an open air living room. So cool. Like in every direction, all you see is, it's open walls, all you see is ocean. You get into the bed, it's on the 2nd floor, and that's all you see from the bed. It's ocean in every direction because it's out on that cliff. It's so cool. What's a great advantage here? We got to hang out with millionaires and billionaires. This is actually my wife, Deborah. My wife, Deborah, is my soulmate. I've been with her now. We started dating 32 years ago. Holy cow. Started dating 32 years ago, and I wouldn't be here if it wasn't for her. She's my soulmate. She is the person that saw more in me than I ever did in myself. For those guys that are in relationships, you may understand what I'm talking about. She built me up and was the wind beneath my sails this whole time. Deborah and I have been together, so here she is. She's hanging out with me. She usually travels with me all around the country. And so Deborah's here doing conga line with millionaires, and Richard Branson here is a billionaire. Man, I wasn't sure I was getting her back. Richard Branson really liked her.
Oh, you were there.
This is Ken and Barbara Tomeko. Ken and Barbara, one of my clients, and they came through a 3-day boot camp. I have a 3-day boot camp that's coming up. One's coming up in just a few weeks in Orlando, Florida, and then we've got another one that's a little bit closer to some of you in Vegas. And so all of you that like anything that I'm saying, you're going to want to pay attention and come hang out for more. So Ken and Barbara came and they hung out at my 3-day boot camp, and they quit their job to pursue their dreams. Anybody here still in a job? Anybody here have a job? Who here would like to quit their job right now? See, some of you are going, I don't know, right now. I want to quit my job, and I would ask, so you love your job? And most people go, well, no, I'm counting the days. I said, well, why stop? Why continue to count? Quit now. And I don't mean that flippantly. I mean there's an absolute plan of action that we can create, and that's what I did with Barbara and Ken. Their idea of when they could quit was 3 to 5 years out, and I showed them how they could quit immediately. And so they were able to quit their jobs, and in the first 12 months of working with me, they doubled their goals and their income. The results were, they came in and they were on track to do about 10 rehab flips a year. Anybody think that that's a good number? Who would be happy with 10 rehab flips a year? Raise your hand up high. Absolutely. And I said, that's great. I said, what if we could increase that number? What would that mean for you? What they realized is that they wanted to build a family business, that it wasn't just about themselves, that they had 3 adult children that they would love to enroll in the business. They would love to create that magnitude for them so that they didn't have to work a job for the rest of their life. That they could quit now and come into the family business and be doing rehab flips. So imagine they did 20, imagine they did 30, maybe 40 rehab flips. Do you think that would change the equation and enable them to bring in their family, bring in their children into their business? They realized that was their real goal, and that's exactly what they did. And so over the first 12 months of working with me, we actually more than doubled their goals, and actually did 24 rehab flips in the first 12 months of working with me. Here's what's really fascinating is, guess what we did in the second 12 months? Doubled it again. Absolutely. Who here's interested in doubling their income in the next 12 months? Raise your hand up high. That's what I do. They went from 24 rehab flips, I believe the second year we did 46 or 47 rehab flips in the second full year of working with me. Maverick secret number 5. Do not be realistic. Realistic is the curse. So many of you are now, all right, that's it, Paul. You had me up to here, only now this is ridiculous. I don't believe this. Man, you've got to be realistic. You got to stretch for what, you got to reach for what makes sense. Does it make sense that here I was making $100,000, I was working in the dental field at the time, selling dental equipment and supplies and consulting with dentists, making about $100,000 a year, and I started hanging out with millionaires, multi-millionaires, and billionaires. Does this make any sense whatsoever? Could I have predicted, oh yeah, I'm going to be hanging out with Richard Branson in 12 months. Over 12 months from sitting in a seat like this, I was standing next to Richard Branson and hanging out in his great place. That was number one crib around the world in Necker Island. I'm hanging out in Necker Island with Richard Branson. Could never have predicted that. So many people get held back by this concept of realistic, and they set their goals and the parameters based on what makes sense. You want to create greatness, you want to create abundance in your world. Man, stretch for something that makes no sense. It's amazing, and watch this. You know, set your goals beyond your wildest dreams, beyond your vision. Most companies, most big corporations, how do they grow? So they have a corporation has presidents, vice presidents, they've got all this structure, this management, they've got all this bureaucracy. How do they grow traditionally? They buy younger companies. Does that make sense? They buy younger. So let me understand something. Just do the thought process. You've got a company that's got all the money in the world. They've got the money to invest in research and development, right? 2 is they've got the resources, the people to investigate what's the best thing to do. What's the most exciting thing we should be working on? What's going to really connect with our audience? So they have all these possibilities, and then, well, why aren't they the cutting edge? Why would they buy a small company that created something amazing? Why weren't they able to create it? Because they set realistic goals. Because they set within a parameter. Because no one in the management is taking risks anymore. They're not stretching themselves. You're a young company. The company leader is saying, hey, you know what? Let's take over the universe. And everybody in the room is going, yeah! And then they do. Facebook? Then they do. Understand innovation. You're all at the cornerstone of it, and it's when you set your goals way beyond your vision. It's when you go beyond your comfort zone. When you dare to step beyond the edge of your wildest imagination is where magic happens. How many of you want to get in, how many of you are brand new in real estate investing? Let's start there. Brand new. How many of you have been studying for a couple years, only really haven't stepped up your game and gotten more than one investment? How many of you have done more than 5 investments? Raise your hand up high. Got it, a couple of them. What I can tell you is, how many of you are in residential? Let's do that one also. How many of you are in commercial real estate? What's the difference between residential and commercial?
Size?
The big numbers scare people. Get over your fears. There's no difference. Now, I say that, people go, oh no, there's a difference. Look at the contracts. Look at there's nuances. Only what it takes internally to actually invest in a commercial piece of real estate versus what it takes to invest in residential, it's exactly the same. Step your game up. Dare to envision all of the above. You can do so much more than you ever dreamed of. Does that make sense? Step up your emotional, physical, mental, and even financial visions. Step out of your comfort zone to experience your dream. And a bonus, because I always deliver more than I promise. Here's a bonus Maverick secret for you. Take massive action. It's counterintuitive because most people think that they're busy already. Here's the reality. I will teach you how to get clear with your time, get clear with what you do, make sure that every moment of your existence is income-producing activity. Every moment of your existence, you're doing the highest and best use of your time so that you can create more. I actually work less now than I ever did making $100,000 a year. I work less now than I ever did working in the opportunities that I used to do. Just because I've learned how, and I've learned how to structure my day and my system and how to get focused. So take massive action. Here's a couple ways. Who here would love to hear about one of my very first real estate deals, and there's a few lessons in it. We would be interested in that. Especially for you people that are just getting started, this may be a formula for you to get into the game. Here's my very first deal. Now, I talked about making calls, researching opportunities. How many opportunities do you need to look at? How many deals do you need to look at to get one?
100.
100. When do you want your next deal?
Now.
Who here wants their next deal in the next 30 days? Are you sure? Who here doesn't want a deal and they're just here wasting their day? I'm confused. How many people want their next deal in the next 30 days? Raise your hand up high. If this is too much effort, go home. This isn't the place for you. You'll get paid higher doing a 9 to 5. So, you want your first deal. You want in the next 30 days. How many opportunities do you need to look at in the next 30 days to get your first deal in the next 30 days? 100. How many people are here dedicated to call on 100 opportunities in the next 30 days? Raise your hand up high. Did I lose you? What's going on? Who here wants it for their next deal in the next 30 days? That means you got to call 100 opportunities in the next 30 days. Who here is committed to that? See, this is where the rubber meets the road. This is the bottom line, isn't it? This is what makes the difference. You want me to do a huge favor for you? Write down. I will connect with 100 properties in the next 30 days. That alone will change your life. So my first deal I did, I got information coming to my doorstep about how to. So I learned how to invest in real estate. I got my first bit of information from, anybody heard of Carlton Sheets? Yes, maybe? Yes. Carlton Sheets. Who here invested in Carlton Sheets? Raise your hand up high. My older gentleman here, absolutely, he was the name of the game. We all like, yeah. How many of you opened it? That was the next question. Most people bought it, they never opened it at all. So you have to open it. I actually opened it and listened to every word. Every word. I did not miss one. I then got busy. I started making phone calls. I started calling everything I saw. Everything I saw. Now, in this day and age, that's easy. You've got the internet. When I first started in real estate, I actually had to look a little deeper. I actually had to open up the newspaper. I actually had to call some